I'm buying this stock and why. So in a 10-minute video, I'm going to break it down to why am I buying this stock, why it's important, looking at the finances, the momentum, everything right here in this video. So you may want to stay tuned. So if you haven't done so already, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Go ahead.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, hit that like, comment, and share button.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, you are now tuned into the Investor Show. As always, this is your gracious host, the Prince of Investing, Prince Dykes, coming to you guys and girls live, all the way from the beautiful city and state of Denver, Colorado. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button. And as always, I don't have a lot of time, and I definitely know you guys and girls don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump straight into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am buying this stock and why. I'm going to walk you all the way through it. So the first thing I want to bring up, the president's agenda. Why is the president agenda very important? Because the president has one of the loudest political voices, not one of, but the loudest political voice. When he talks, everyone listens, all of the good stuff like that. So what did President Biden just push for right now? A $3 trillion, he's trying to raise corporate taxes to pay for it, but he's pushing $3 trillion infrastructure plan that we talked about on this show already. So he's big on infrastructure. You can look into this. This is his fact sheets, the America Jobs Plan, right? So right there, that tells me this. I think that this bill would get passed, not in the way he wants it to, but I think a variation will be passed into building the infrastructure of America. Now that lets me think, okay, so what companies are out there going into this or whatever, right? Now, so that's the first thing. The next thing is big money backing. Prince, what do you mean by big money backing? Here we go. Here, let me share this screen here. I'll give me 1 second. So big money backing. What does big money backing and why is that so important when you come into the world of investing? We know anytime something becomes institutionalized, it explodes. Look at Bitcoin for prime example. You look at cryptocurrency. Why did they have such a great year so far this year and last year? Because big companies like Tesla, Visa, everybody, these big corporations start to get behind you. Same thing you see, in the entertainment world. So when an artist is independent, working on their own, they're doing okay. But once they get the big label and big push, then boom, they turn into a megastar, right? Same thing you see with any project, anything. When somebody gets behind it and put the light on it, it takes off. Not in all cases, but it puts it in position to take off. So right here, we're looking at ARK Invest. This came as of for today, April 7th. And this is ARK Invest. If you pay ARK Invest, this is one of the hot stocks of like the last year or two or whatever, ran by Kathy Woods. Give a round of applause for Ms. Kathy Woods. I should already have my sounds queued up, but I don't. But I'm going to fix that right now. So let's give a round of applause for Ms. Kathy Hughes. So the thing about it is, she put out a ARK space, a space ETF, right? Pretty much ARKX holdings, right? So here we go. So their number one holding that they put $52 million behind it. I think that's million. Yeah, $52 million. And it is 8.9% of the portfolio. It's the largest position. Is Trimble. Right. So you look at this company, they got 632,000 shares of this particular company. That's a lot of big money. $52 million, not crazy big. That's not crazy big, but $52 million, that's a lot for an investment firm to push behind. And that's why you've seen them kind of push forward and to be the number one in space innovation ETF, right? So anyway, so that's big money pushing behind it. Institutions are pushing money into this particular company. Now let's look at how has this company performed versus the S&P 500. That's one of my top things I always look at. What are you doing versus the S&P 500? Let's take a look. It is part of the NASDAQ if you didn't know. Putting that out there now. So right here, let's look at the year-to-date chart. The year-to-date chart, it came out about $66. Now it's up to $79, right? He has outperformed the S&P 500 this year. You look at the 1-year chart versus the S&P 500, it beat it. The 3-year chart, the 5-year chart, the 10-year chart, all the way to the max. So this company has a history of outperforming the S&P 500. Now, the next thing I said, okay, well, check that. You're beating the S&P 500. What is your beta? Are you a company that has movement? Are you a company that moves? So now I look at this particular beta, a 1.5 beta. It is outperforming the index and it has a little bit more volatility in the index. So that means that when the index moves, it moves. It's not a real flatline type company. It has more movement than the S&P 500 than your index. I like that. Now, of course, the biggest one before I look at anything, I look at profitability. Is this company particularly profitable? Yes, it is. I can tell that by looking at its PE ratio. PE ratio of 53, that's a little elevated, but in the NASDAQ world, this thing is compared to Microsoft, all these other companies like that, not a extremely high PE ratio. Now, the next thing I want to look at is the dividend. Does it pay a dividend? What's going on with the dividend? This company does not pay a dividend. That is a plus for me. I don't like companies that pay huge dividends, big dividends, because guess what? The company has to pay tax on the money, and then the company pays it to me. I get a dividend check, and then Uncle Sam gets a piece of it. So Uncle Sam, he gets when you collect a dividend check. I'm not a dividend person, not in this particular thing. I'm looking for growth. I'd rather a company keep its money and continue to grow. Right. So now that's what I want to do. So when I look at this chart, I can see right here where institutions probably started to shoot in. I think it was right around that $70 range. You can kind of see it right here. Right about March 24th, you start to see this company go from sitting at $75 and it shot all the way up to $83. Then it had a fall off today. So I think this is when the institutions started to come in, and you can see that volume down here. And also you can see back in January where you seen 53 million, a big volume came in January before it was announced that, hey, ARK is going to be in it, all other stuff like that, right? So that pushes up the stock, makes it overvalued. I think it's a good price for it. It's about $70. It's about $80 right now. But hey, that's need to be said there. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty of the fundamentals of the company. Now let's stop this and let's pull up their 10K report that they released in February, which I have right here. Where is it? Make sure I got the right one. Yep, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So let's stroll on down here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to their selected financial data. Boom. Now I'm on the selected financial data. The big thing, the big strike that I saw against this company has very low working capital. That's something we're going to talk about. Now, here it is. This is what ties into the president. Now you see right here, fiscal year, last year in millions, they generated 3.4 billion, $3.1 billion. Right. The year before that, in 2019, they generated 3.2 billion, and they generated 3.1 billion. Not too bad in the economic time frame. You look at the gross margin, 50 over 50% gross margin, high gross margins. I like to see that percentage because especially in the tech world, you don't see gross margins that high. So the reason why I care about fundamentals, if it does have a dip and I'm holding it, I don't mind holding it. Now here we go right here. In fiscal year 2020, total revenue decreased by $116 million, or 4%. Overall revenue decrease due to weakness in transportation. Guess what's on the uptick so far this year? Guess what everybody's going to be doing once this vaccination comes on? Transportation. Next, and a lesser extent, building and infrastructure. So they lost 4% last year in revenue due to transportation and building and infrastructure. So guess what's going to be the hot topic this year? Transportation, building and infrastructure, and Gerospace, right? Gerospace also too. This company is connected to, it did a partnership with Microsoft, it did a partnership with Caterpillar, and it was one of the pioneers of commercial GPS, how we got around, put inside of our cars, had people driving around with GPS that's now in our phone. All right, which was impacted by the first 2 quarters by COVID-19. The decrease was partially offset by organic acquisition and growth of resources and utilities, as well as recovery from building and infrastructure and geospatial in the third and fourth quarter. So building and infrastructure and building and infrastructure start to pick up in the fourth quarter. But guess what's going to pick up here soon? Transportation. And what is President Biden pushing? Building and infrastructure. So this company is in the perfect position, and I believe that it's in a perfect position to be able to capitalize off of building, infrastructure, and transportation. With big money following it, with the president making it his number one agenda, you're a financially stable company. I like that. Now let's stroll on down here a little bit more. I'm going to kind of get through this a little quick. Well, not quick, but I don't want to put everything out here or whatever, right? So right here, it tells you 39 and 20 and last year, 39% of his income revenue was generated from building and infrastructure. Only 20% of his 20% of his income came from transportation. So you put building and infrastructure and transportation together, you're talking about 60% of this company's resources, of his money, being generated. So just think about that. So you can see they had a dip in transportation. That was 24% of their income last year. It dropped down 4% in transportation. You also see, when you look at this, you put these two together, building transportation infrastructure. And I like the space thing. Space thing is cool as well, but I think it's in a perfect position. It has a high beta so far. I just think it's a little overgassed looking at the money that got pumped into it, but I do like it. So you look at cash on hand, $237 million in cash. So 3.5% of their total assets are sitting in cash. Not too bad. So they made some investments here. Let's stroll on down here a little bit more. Something else I want to show y'all. Operational expenses, operational income. No, I want to get down to that balance sheet. Where are you at? Why are you hiding from me? You know I'm going to find you. So the biggest weak thing that I saw financially is their here we go, right here, their balance sheet. What's their working capital? So you look at it, they have a total assets they reported in 2020 of $1.2 billion. They have total liabilities of there it is right here. No. Okay. They have total assets of 6.8 billion. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Total assets of 6.8 billion. Total liabilities of 3.7 billion, bringing out their network and shareholders equity to 3.5 billion. Network of 3.5 billion in the company. Positive. That's good. Now, when you look at their long-term debt, they got 1.2 billion in long-term debt. But then I look at how much are their current assets. Now, this is the downside. Current assets of 1.2 billion and current liabilities of 1.2 billion. So they have no working capital. Don't like that. When you look at their current assets and their current liabilities, I don't like that, right? So that's one knot that I give them with very low working capital. But I can see here what happened was their total current liabilities increased by $2 million last year. So not 2 million, but that's $200 million that they increased by last year due to, 2020 had a lot of the first 2 quarters. They said they lost a lot of money for transportation and building and infrastructure. So that can kind of offset it. That could be where their working capital went, but that's one thing I didn't like about it. So you can see they generate all their money from products, services, and subscriptions. So their products is at number one at $1.8 billion. Now, this is what I do like about this company. They help with Caterpillar finding stuff that's under the ground. They help with Microsoft. It's so much that they do. They got the government behind them. Big money's being poured into them. This is why I look at this particular company. I say, okay, this is one that I can see rocking with. And if it does have a decrease, something I wouldn't mind holding, and that is getting into the future of with the satellites and things like that as well. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully that wasn't too long for you. Hopefully y'all got something out of it. So let me see what y'all saying before I jump out of here. All right. Alan Williams, good evening, brother. What's going on, Al? Thanks for tuning in. Give a shout out to Al, everybody. Gerald, he said, hello, Prince from Los Angeles. Los Angeles is tuning in today. Shout out to Los Angeles. Let's sip and talk. Freeman Kennedy from South Carolina. Thank you, Kennedy, for tuning in. Gerald, he said, bullish on renewable energy stock. Enphase, yes, I've been big on Enphase for a while. I've still been holding it. Hopefully, it had a strong year. Larissa Miller, hey, how you doing, Miss Larissa Miller? She said, Prince words are gold, leading Gen Z into a physical, responsible future. Thank you, Miss Larissa Miller, for tuning in. Definitely looking forward to having you on the show. Pete for Life out there in Phoenix, Arizona. What's up? Pete for Life? Shout out to him. Al said, Larisha, indeed, couldn't agree more. Thank you, appreciate that. That's my guy, Max B. What's going on, Max B? He said, you you have to know what you're buying. That's very true. You gotta know. You gotta know. Gerald said not sold in airline and travel yet. Okay, he's not sold in airline and travel yet. We're gonna have to get back to flying. Melanie Peterson says, "Good evening, Sir Prince. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how are you doing there?" Gerald said, "Major pullback coming soon. Great opportunity to invest at a discount." Yes, it could be, but I'm definitely having it on my wish list. Deirdre said, "What kind of time frame are you looking at this one?" I'm looking at a time when all of the major indexes started to decline. So I would like to see $60, $70 range if I could, but I'll be watching out for it. What's the name of the company? It is Trimble, TRIMBLE. Again, stock symbol TRMB. That's Tango Romeo Mike Bravo, Trimble Incorporated. Miss Vita, he came in here late into the room. Hey, how you doing, Miss Vita? She's out there in California. Thank you for tuning in as well. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully y'all got something out of that. I have to roll out of here. I definitely thank you guys and girls for tuning in. And until the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever else crazy y'all see me do around the globe, peace, be safe. I'm out, and thank you.